No mic. What am I doing? I'm an amateur.
Alright folks, so as part of my X-Men watch along, which the playlist of is up there, by the way, if you want to watch any of the other X-Men reviews, I am now on to Deadpool 2. Let's talk about it. Alright folks, so as I mentioned, the playlist, and if you also want to see my first Deadpool review, that should be, I'm pointing the wrong way, aren't I? That should be up there. So disregard that, what I did in the intro. Alright, moving on. Anyway, Deadpool 1 Deadpool review up there. Deadpool 2 now. You're here. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Alright, let's get on with it. So, you have the tradition of a hilarious opening, this time mocking Logan. The wounds are still healing. But and some probably some of the best scenes in the film, with some just really great action scenes off the bat. Some great cinematography, actually. They put a lot of effort into that opening, you can definitely tell. And just in general, looking at this film, it's very, very clear to see Fox upped the budget quite a bit. They have a lot more money to do whatever they want with visual effects, locations, all that. Obviously, off of the success of the first film, there's a if it ain't broke, why fix it model that they're going to, and so they up the ante even. And there's more fourth wall jokes, fourth wall breaks, and just more meta jokes in general. And that stuff I loved. I mentioned that in my first review, so it's always nice to see that. That stuff's hilarious. I mean, it's great. I do have to say, so this is now the third movie in a 13 film franchise that has the main character's wife killed off for the purposes of bringing him back in the plot. I will say that this time it is very, very different. So the first time was X-Men Origins Wolverine, which my review of is up there. Not a good film. And then X-Men Apocalypse, also not a good film with Magneto. But each time I guess they're getting better at it, because here it's a character that is established, one that we know and like, I'd say. I think most of the audience probably likes Vanessa as a character. And she dies. It's, you can sort of see it coming once it's in motion. But, to say it is unexpected when you're going in. You're not really seeing... thinking about Vanessa dying and that being, the cause for Deadpool to get back in. So tired trope, but done way better than the other two films. And then, so there's a joke in here where Deadpool's at the academy, and, I don't exactly remember what he said. I'll see if I can find it and put the clip here.
Carry him 3 feet off the ground to snatch up the nearest muffin crumb?
But, the Beast closes the door with, the first class there with him. And I get it. It's a good joke. It's funny. But timeline-wise, how does that work? Because it's either Apocalypse in the 80s or... Apocalypse in the 80s. It is. It's Apocalypse in the 80s, right? Because you have the new Cyclops. But how does that work? It doesn't work timeline-wise. It's a good joke. I don't know. Unless it does work timeline-wise and someone wants to explain it to me. So the first 30 minutes of this film or so is great, right? Everything is Deadpool, the first one, but done better, I'd say. They really had a good thing going. And then they really complicate the plot. They really want to also, complicate the plot this time around, add more nuance to the film. And I think it does take away, because when you spend more time focusing on actual plot beats and, sometimes spend with Cable, and really all of the time that Deadpool and Russell, the kid, are spending in the prison, is just really boring, because it's pretty much all just set up. The jokes there are few and far between, but yeah, it betters the plot, but at the expense of what makes Deadpool Deadpool, the comedy. And then unfortunately, the entire second act of the film is just really bland and boring. It really was. Obviously, the jokes are tippity top. That's always, that's going to be a highlight in any Deadpool movie. How are you going to have a Deadpool movie without good jokes? But yeah, the second act is bland. Unfortunately, yeah, it's boring. And then you have probably the best scene in the movie, I just thought I'd say, and I think everyone pretty much agrees. But where first of all, they assemble the crew for taking back Russell, and then the scene where just everyone dies simultaneously in varying ways. And most of them are celebrity cameos. You have Brad Pitt, Terry Crews. It's hilarious. It's Peter, some regular guy. It's all really funny. And that, it's the best of Deadpool. It's the best of the character. It shows why this character works in a film like this. The pacing of this film is absolutely atrocious. It is all over the place. Again, like in the beginning, you're moving super duper fast, and then it takes a crawl. Oh my God, is it slow? And then it's back, and then the third act is again all over the place. They really, spoiler. yeah, spoiler. But they really draw out like Wade's death scene just for him to come back. So I mean, all that time was spent nothing. A ton of repeated jokes after one another, and then you have scenes where he's like battling Juggernaut or the church guy. I don't know what his actual job title is, but yeah, and all that's like, you know, relatively fast paced. So it's just pacing is a problem in this film. And then I will say the Cable, so again, I'm not a comic reader, but apparently Cable's like an established fan character, which is why they did the post-credit scene last time, you know, telling the viewer that Cable would be in this one. But the Cable Deadpool dynamic is great. You know, I could probably use a whole movie with that. Again, the stoicism versus, you know, the lighthearted good jokes. It works. It always works. You know, put Deadpool with Wolverine, it works. But I do have to say that when you have Cable, the majority of the time the villain, and then the last minute he switches, and then you replace him with someone who has not even been introduced up until this point, then it's also, you know, that doesn't work, right? Because we're not super established into Juggernaut as a character. We see him do one bad thing, but again, it's played for laughs. And now all of a sudden Cable's good again, even though their dynamic is good. It just doesn't work. So the film is still, you know, thematically sound. There's actually quite a few themes in here. And, you know, it does add, that's the heart of the film, which is why, again, in my Deadpool review, the first one, I did mention the heart and the surprising amount of depth that the film had and the character had. And so it is still sort of there, but a lot, you know, it's slow at times, it's boring. Definitely not as good a film. It is still, you know, perfectly solid. Some of the best moments of the Deadpool character, and also definitely some of the worst. So it's got to be a B. You know, good film, all the same. If I ever watch this movie again, I very well may watch the beginning and the end and that little funny scene where everyone's dying, the whole crew. But everything else is yikes. Alright folks, so that's my review of Deadpool 2, if you liked it. This one's divisive as far as I can tell, you know. Some people think it's better than the first, some don't hold that belief. I don't think it's better than the first. I didn't think it was horrible. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe. If you don't know, the bell next to the little subscribe button gives you notifications for when I upload. If you want that, if you like what I'm, you know, you're picking up what I'm putting down, go ahead and do that too. Go ahead and hit the little bell. And you can go ahead and put all notifications if you want, if you're feeling risky. And the next review is Dark Phoenix, a film that not a lot of people like. So that should be fun. Anyway, I will see you in the next review. Bye.